My name is Nigel from Enterprise Londonville, and this is my story. Started for me, introduced to the sport when I was around 19. I just did it to help me stay fit and keep me active. And realizing I had a talent for it, and I really took it serious. Back then, it was all about a pastime, something.
When Nigel came and said that he's interested in boxing, well, I got excited. I feel glad. I tell him, well, if that's what you want, then go ahead. So, I mean, it was good to know that he had chosen to get involved into boxing. However, it was, I can't remember the year, but a few years ago, that he said, well, look, you want to get involved into boxing? I said, go ahead. But then after he jumped out from boxing and went and played basketball. So when he came and said, well, he's going after basketball, I said, okay, no problem, go ahead. And after, I think it was last year, for carnival camp that we had up Balanta side or Rampanalgas, he said, well, this other guy came and introduced, he said he's going to this boxing gym and so on. And I just said, well, I want to go. So he came back again and said, well, okay, Daddy, I'm going to do. I said, well, okay, no problem. And from there, it was like every evening or morning, even if he would kind of oversleep or making no kind of action to go, I would ask him, Nigel, you're not going, or I would wake him, or that sort of thing, and encourage him, because I know that it's something that he wants to do, and he can make good out of it.
My first time in the ring, it was, for me, kind of exhilarating moment, thinking back on my first fight. It was, how I should put this? I felt at home, I should say. It was a new feeling and a familiar feeling at the same time, to go in the ring and actually start boxing and doing something that I know that I fell in love with. So for me, it was, that feeling for me was something special, I would say. Growing up in a big family, it was always fun, never a dull moment with my brothers and my sister. We always joking around, having fun. Always felt that love, always felt protected because of having 3 older brothers and an older sister that will do anything for you, always make you feel that level of safety and protection, and love. So my family is a big, goofy family. We love to make jokes and love to have a good time.
Growing up, Nigel was always the little brother, always the small one, the short one, fat. He was always short and fat. Seeing how we growing up, the kind of struggles we went through, you always say to yourself that he would be the one to really help the family reach some way comfortable in life, out of the poverty stage that we was in. And he always said that one of these days, we always used to pick on him. I say one of these days he'll get bigger and stronger, are we? And he go be the one to protect we one of these days. And I guess it's a mindset he had from ever since that, from young growing up, that he'd be the protector or the provider in the family, really, to help us in that field. So I guess he working towards it. Nigel was never tall. He was always short and fat. So where sports is concerned, I didn't really see Nigel in that field. But as time go by, we was always taller and bigger than him. So he always say how good. you see this picking on me thing, I had to stop. So he started to get involved in basketball, he started to stretch. I'm height in our family, so it was going to happen. So with the height, he started to put on his size, started to go gym, and from there he into football, basketball, but boxing was something I never really thought he'd get involved into. But I guess because of the size he put on, he just get bigger than everybody and taller. So yeah, of lately, yeah, it was something that I can see him getting involved in where fighting is concerned. Because, not that he liked to fight, it's just that he looked like he was able to take on mostly anybody who come along him. In a good way, in a good way.
It was just a couple of weeks ago that me and Nigel went to the bank. That was when he had started the boxing thing. A little while before, and he was just talking about, you know, the boxing scene and showing me what was going on. I really didn't understand how far he had reached in it. And we had went to the bank in Price Plaza to handle some business, and one of the local cricketers had walked into the bank, and Nigel was like, just saying, you know that fella? But I was like, what do you mean if I know that fella? I say, yeah, that is one of the cricketers on the team. I tell him, I said to Nigel, I have respect for you, but I said, you know, when I go have more respect for you when you make a name for yourself. And the man proved me wrong in like no space of time, because I believe it was like in less than a month. I believe it was on this same channel here that I was home. I leave work early and I went home and I tuned into the program, and I hear them ask them some questions and said, oh, you know, now he is the Caribbean champion. I was like, ma, you hear what this man just say about Nigel? He's the Caribbean champion. And I was like, well, yeah. And it's then I really started to listen to how much different things he do, and to know that a couple months I was just telling him that, you know, nobody really knew your name. For his name to be known throughout the country now and even worldwide, because, I mean, the different things that Nigel doing, and he really started as it, because in a short space of time, and within a year, to know that he do all what he do in just 1 year, 10 fights. I mean, thinking about it, it kind of crazy. It still seem not real to me. Before every fight Nigel had, I would walk outside and I'd go and pray. I'd be like, God, just give my brother the strength, give him the endurance to, not to knock out or really damage anybody, but just to make it, just to qualify. And I mean, it happened, and the man going through. We proud that, and the whole family proud. We're glad that, you know, Nigel reached so far. I mean, he speak. I believe he speak everything into being, because since Nigel was young, it's like, yo, I go into the Olympics, and everybody like, yeah, you're going. And I was like, you know, wherever. And I believe that he had the faith, and he already speak it into being, and, you know, knowing the God that we serve, I mean, actually make it happen. Like I say, we have these things that we just do by telling each other, you know, not in a bad way, but, you know, it's my brother be like, nah, you ain't gonna get that, and just to show me, to prove that, you know, I could do it. Nigel do it. I know Nigel is still a baby in boxing, and he reached this far, and he have plenty more to go, plenty further to go, and, you know, the man proved me wrong. He's just not known in Trinidad alone. That the man is a household name throughout, I believe, the Caribbean, because it was only him and the next guy qualified from the Caribbean so far. So, you know, I just want to thank God for taking my brother places. I mean, the man traveling, right now, he traveling so much, I just lost track. I wish what years he was. Sometimes he's like, ma, where Nigel is, or that, where Nigel going today? And you know, I mean, God really taking him places, and we really give God thanks for that. I mean, he making the family proud, he make the family proud, and I know he'll make his country proud.
Just the mere idea that he's qualified to go Rio, I am so excited. I am, as I say, a proud father. Yes, I am a proud father, because to know that it is on the positive and not the negative. Because at the same time, being a pastor, you know, people tends to look at your children, and they would have, I mean, the good and the bad to say. You do bad, you can't get away from that. That spread like wildfire. You do good, and I thank God that this good that is, done by Nigel at this time is one that the entire nation, should be proud of. Not only we as his parents or family should be proud of, but the entire nation should be proud of. People might think differently. I know he had to do the work. I know the coach had to do his work, and everybody had to do their work. But it had to be only through the help of God that all of this could have been accomplished. So I believe even to that part that, Nigel, he have to do whatever he have to do. Because again, I look at his dedication and devotion in the ministry, in church, right? Nigel is the one who actually would play the keyboard, the drums, bass guitar, I shot at the saxophone, and he's there faithfully every service that we have that require the music. Nigel will be there. We could count on him for that.
My biggest motivator right now to me is my mom. She always somehow make each and every child that she has feel special in some way. Always let us know that we all are here for a purpose. And she keep driving that factor in our heads that, each and every one of us have something to do and some impact to make in Trinidad. So that's my biggest motivational factor because, we've been through a lot as a family. Even recently, my mom, she went through so much and she still do so much for us. Just the way I see her handle my family growing up from a really young age, was about 2 months ago, I actually told her the story that I think she remembered, but fairly remembered. When I was younger, I had an ear infection. I had a little problem here, and she noticed that when they called my dad to call me 2 or 3 times for to respond, and we went to get it checked out. And ever since I was little, I was always a little bit greedy, a chubby little boy. So we was walking through the sun, I was complaining Mama, the sun hot, I don't want to walk thing. I wanted to lift up, and I was big. So she's like, I said, I was hungry, and she didn't have much money, probably passage and a little more, because I think we had to spend some money for the doctor visit or whatever the case is. And she just had enough extra to buy one drink, and I think it was a cheese pie or something. And being the little greedy Nigel, I ate all the pie and drank all the soft drink, and I knew that she was hungry as well. And thinking back on that, we look back on it and we laugh and stuff, but I know my mother will do anything for me, even when it comes to the fact putting herself last. And I made her to understand that anything I could do for her today, I will do, and I wouldn't think twice about doing it. So my mom is my #1 fan and my #1 motivational factor in my life right now.
Feelings right now is honored and truly blessed to have a child that, had in his mind from a young boy that he would actually like to represent Trinidad and Tobago from ever since. He always wanted to be a person representing Trinidad and Tobago in whatever field. And I feel really overjoyed at this time to know that Nigel has seen his dream come true. And as a mother, sometimes children growing up there, and it's you're looking at them going to school, doing the work coming from school, and as a parent to have 5 boys and 1 girl, and Nigel, one of the boys being obedient, willing to listen, never being rude, wouldn't answer back, no matter what comes his way or how we try to correct him, he would always be willing to listen. And to see that he could actually, have this thing in his heart, and to see it actually come true. I mean, I was expecting, to be honest, I was expecting things to happen for him in the country as he actually dreamed. But to me, as a mother, was never looking at this to this extent until he actually, got in touch there with Trumpet and desired to get into boxing, and Trumpet encouraged him to go not just for any other field, but go for the Olympics. So, to me, words can't explain. It's something way beyond my imagination. I wouldn't say expectation, but way beyond my imagination. And I always expected great things from at least all of my children, and to see at least Nigel being where he is at this time. And actually, one thing that really take my heart in all of this is that he is able to be, I would say, an example. I love the idea that young people in today's time could be example to their peers. We were in the drawing room there, we were having some fun. And when they actually lifted his hand and said, because I think that is when he was with the Argentinian guy. I was just up and down, I was just praying and asking God just to have his way. And when I heard the announcer say that he just bought his ticket, or he just got his ticket to Rio, it was like, sometimes you're trying to figure out, should I cry, should I be happy, should I bawl, should I scream, it's like, was mixed feelings. And I just, to be honest, I just couldn't explain the feelings, this is my son, this is really my son, he's not here in Trinidad, he's so far away and he has achieved this. It was like, to me, a feeling that a mother just cannot explain. It is way beyond words. And I really felt happy, I felt overjoyed.
Growing up, I was involved in everything. I played football in primary school, played cricket in primary school, I played football in junior sec. And I came out of school, I played basketball for Londonville. So, ever since I was younger, I was always bigger than everybody else, in size. So, but I always had it in my head, I had to keep up. So I could move, I could run, I could jump, I could flip. Everything that everybody else was doing, I was doing. So, to me, basically, any sport I decided to take up, I knew for a fact that I would excel in it, because in my head, I don't want anybody to be better than me in anything, basically, because, if you're better than me, I will try to come up to your standard, and if I'm better than you, I want to stay better than you. So it's like, there's always a competition in my head. Growing up with my brothers, we was involved in everything. But I remember at one time, the guy who actually taught me per se to play basketball as Michael Howe. He said, Nigel, he's called me Nigel. He said, Nigel, I noticed that you're good at everything, but you're not the best at one thing. At first, when he told me that, I was like, what are you talking about? Because he said I could swim, because my sister, she was a swim instructor, so she taught me how to swim really well. I could do basically anything in swimming. I could swim, I could play football, I could play basketball, I could play cricket, and in the gym lifting weights. I could do a lot of things, but you say you're good at a lot of things, but you're not the best at one thing. And that keep resonating in my head. It makes sense, because I could do everything, but at the end of the day, I'm not the best at one of the things I'm doing, not even one thing. It's just a matter of me keeping up, and keeping up to me wasn't enough. So when I took up boxing, I decided I want to be the best I could be in boxing. So when it comes in terms of sport, basically anything, I can do anything, but I love boxing.
Nigel, growing up, it was, I should say, a tough one. Looking at when Nigel was about 3, Nigel always had the attitude of, I don't want a loss. And growing up among the others, which is 6 children and all, and Nigel being the second to last, he always had this competitive way about him, you know, and he keeps saying all the time, I know that I have to fight for whatever I want, because, like, given his position as the 5th child, looking at the last one, Isaac, the baby, so he say Isaac, everybody focusing on Isaac. Okay, Josiah was our favorite. So he had this attitude all the time, I have to fight. Being in the middle here, I have to fight. And so Nigel always had that, I don't want to say aggressive, but he had that way, I have to be able to handle myself. And so you find now even in that, Nigel had the attitude here that regardless of what he was involved in, he's not going to lose. And so this coming through the years, Nigel, that was his life. I am not going to lose. Going outside, interfering with people's things, you know, having to go in school because they're fighting or any problem like that. We never had that sort of problem with none of the children as such. And speaking for Nigel, we never had that those problems. Yes, they're going to have the disagreement home, but outside, never. No trouble, and that's one thing I am proud to say, that no trouble on the outside, whether it was school, neighbors, or wherever. It was no problem whatsoever with not only Nigel, but the children on a whole. We never had those problems. I remember once we was living out Enterprise on the main road, and we had this shop that you call Toya shop. And I had a day she asked my wife a question. Neighbor, how you are able to bring up your children in this village and they are not in trouble? And I will say here that it was not difficult. Why? Because first, we put God first. That's the first thing. We put God first. And the children, they actually, well, we don't say they're born in church, right? They grow in church, and we continue to, you know, let them know the right and the wrong. And so it was not like, I would put it this way, that they will go on the outside and be on the road, as you would see some parents would have their 3-year-old out on the road, I mean, whatever hour in the night. I mean, that is, to me, that is beyond madness. And these are some of the things that the children, they would be home. We would not have them to go out and lime on the corner because you get nothing on the corner. All right, so in that sense, being able to show them the life of Christ, and I would say have a handle on them in the sense of going out and lying and falling into mischief. No, we did not have that.
My long-term goal is being the best boxer Trinidad ever had. That's my long-term goal. It doesn't matter how it happened. If I stay amateur or if I decide to go pro, I just want to be the best at this. I just want to leave a mark in Trinidad. I want to be a part of Trinidad and Tobago's history. So that's my long-term goal. My family, I believe my family is a genuine family, and growing up in that atmosphere, we always try to be genuine with people. So someone who you know for a fact that is sly or underneath and like two-faced, to me that's it's a real big turn off for me, especially if I know what's going on, and I realize the fact that you're still trying to stay two-faced with me. That's one of my biggest turn off in anybody. My focus right now is at 100%. I know what I have to do. I understood that it would be hard, and I accept the challenge, I accept the responsibility to train harder, to work harder. Even Coach Trumpet, every day he put it in my head, even down to last night when we was training. The level of training, really and truly, gradually he's making it like increase. You don't want to put too much on me too fast, but where I used to stop and take a rest, or where I used to probably lock off training at a certain time, he extended the time and extended the amount of reps and extended the workout on a whole. So it's like gradually we get in there, knowing that the workload will double. It's not double immediately, but I understand the fact that the workload is going to double up, and I accept the challenge mentally first, because if you don't put your mind to it, you'll just like break down. Even the guys last night was like, yo, it start. I was like, yeah, you know, so I accept the challenge, and I know that I have to work harder, so mentally I'm ready and ready to put the work in. To Trinidad and Tobago, I just want to say that keep supporting the athletes, even when they fail, because I was one of the citizens that used to real bad talk sportsmen. I mean, if we lost, I was one of the biggest critics in Trinidad. Whether it's football, basketball, swimming, anything, I'd be like, Trinidad, that make no sense, but like, better we just stop. But getting into boxing and seeing how much work people put in, I have a real like newfound respect for every single athlete in Trinidad, whether you're elite or whether you're just like doing it to represent. I never knew how much work was put into being an athlete, and I really respect everybody as you put on your uniform to represent Trinidad. I say hats off to every single member of the sporting family in Trinidad and Tobago. I never knew it was so much work, and I really respect each and every person for taking up that responsibility and representing Trinidad. So to Trinidad and Tobago, support the athletes, because we don't know how much blood, sweat and tears literally it takes to represent the country. So continue to rally behind the athletes and show them that love, show them that support. I mean, if they win, celebrate. If they lose, still celebrate, because work was done and the effort was put out there. I mean, not every time you would win, but we still go out there to represent the country, to make you proud. So continue to show that love and support, and we'll continue to make Trinidad proud. My name is Nigel Paul, super heavyweight champion for Trinidad and Tobago, and that's my story.